Now we should be cooking. Now we should be cooking. There we go. Welcome, welcome. All right. So far, we've got about a 30-point move on NASDAQ. Nothing crazy here. We finally punctured last week's highs after multiple attempts. And the S&P is driving higher here by about 7 points. NASDAQ is up about 30, 35 points and climbing. Do I use dark pool levels at all? Not really. Occasionally I'll take a look at them, but I don't really use them too much. Hope I had a great weekend. I did. I had a fantastic weekend. Hope you did as well. Thank you. I planted my sweet potatoes this weekend, so I'm stoked. It's I call it my election year garden. When we wake up and we see a mushroom cloud over DC, my sweet potatoes will be just fine. Hopefully. I doubt it. 51.58 right here. Liquidity to the upside. We have up to 85, 5,200, and a little bit here hanging out again. Let's take a look at downside. They did have some at 50.90. They took that off. And today, so far, the book is skewed to the upside. Skewed to the upside. Looking at NASDAQ, we have a 121 positive CVD, one that's pretty neutral. And we have a skew up to 18,000 as they continue to bottom wick and going even higher. There's another one on the old NASDAQ. What's up, Hal? How you doing? We are pretty light in the pants today for catalysts. Nothing at all. One-star event at 11:30 for a 3-month auction, and that's it. The catalyst kickoff tomorrow, even though tomorrow it's still light, 9:45 Chicago PMI, 10 o'clock CB Consumer Confidence. And then, of course, Wednesday is the show where FOMC comes out and J-Powell comes out and starts flapping his lips. Which I guess, from what the news reports, next year we'll be listening to Trump on FOMCs, not J-Powell. Could you imagine? We elected in a huge matter, the biggest ever. We're going to hike rates. It's going to be the best rate hikes ever. Could you imagine? Oh, it would be a catastrophe. It would be a catastrophe. My Trump impression is terrible. I apologize. It's beautiful rate hikes. Is it beautiful? Oh my gosh. He would do it too. He would. $17,937 here. Kind of back and forth on NASDAQ. No one does rate hikes better. Your Trump impression is going to have to cause me trauma. I apologize. Alrighty. A little bit of red coming off. What we got? Very slow action so far. Nothing cray-cray. This is a reason I subbed to this Discord. There you go. A little comedy action. Gotta get some comedy, right? Alrighty. Apple's starting to come off just a touch. Still bottom wicking, though. We would not be bored. That's right. That's right. Apple is skyrocketing even more. They are up 3.27%. Microsoft is down 1%. Nvidia is down nearly 1%. Google's down 2%. Meta's down 1.2%. So it's actually a pretty red day for tech, with exception to Amazon and Apple. Apple is holding up the market. And what did we talk about last week? Is that there's always one name. And I know we joke about that. There's always one. But it's true. Every day, at least one of these names is up an insane amount, 2, 3, 4%. While everything else is putting on a pretty decent red day. Google being down 2% normally is a pretty heavy event if they were all down, but Apple's up 3.5. So there's always one that's at least very green. Plunge protection team, baby. So there we go, 17,928. Let's go take a look at the DXY. What are we doing today? I'm going to pay closer attention to currency. They're up over 105 with very green. The yields today are down 4.98 after spiking over 5 again. And looking, of course, at the USD JPY index is 156 after another intervention of 160. They tap 160, which is astronomical, and then down we go. So a little bit of red here on the old old charts here. All right, 17,914 on NASDAQ, dropping a little bit more. ES is 5150. Taking a look at the options chain, what do we got? Let's see, today is April 29th. Let's go over to my SPX. Come on, load, baby. Load. Low IV. Nope, that's not right. I was on a wrong contract. Let's go over to the actual proper contract. How about that? 30% IV. So we do have some decent IV today. Nope, even that's not right. Let me actually go to at the money contracts. 5100s. There we go. Now we're cooking with fuel here. Yeah, so we do have low IV. Nothing expected. Now, this is why that's not. This is why it's not surprising. We had an incredibly high IV pump last week that rolled off early in the week and then rolled off aggressively throughout the entire week from 21 all the way down into now. VIX is 1514. IV has gone from roughly 42% down to now under 20% with premiums rolled off here. So now is the time, in my opinion, to start putting on a play for FOMC. PDS, PCS, whichever you'd like. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing a PCS because it's going to be hard to get those deflation. But a PDS, something like that, would start putting on for the IV pump going into FOMC. They've drawn IV all the way down, and now there's time to pump it back up. It's all a game. A game of IV. Can you imagine if they made a combination of those two movies? Jeez Louise. Debit spreads, A-firm. Debit spreads. Would you say the IV on the option chain is pretty low for the week considering? It's low for today. It's actually not necessarily low, but back to normal. And it's pretty much that what they've tried to do is roll off IV going into FOMC on Wednesday. You can't maintain extreme levels of IV going into an event like that because it'll just add, the premiums will be too high and it's not beneficial to them being the big players. So they're going to roll off IV, mean revert the market, and then pump it back up. Pump up the jam. Pump it up. A little bit of red here coming off so far. 50-point move on NASDAQ. We have a test here. I am utilizing the new indicator today that sets levels. I'm going to see if it can automatically do it with my hourly range. And I'll see how I like it. Large red candles coming off even more, pumping back down. 1874, large red. And we're attacking pre-market lows already. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. 51.54 dropping. Large flows. Apple still going higher. Microsoft is plummeting. Huge red candles on Microsoft. They're now down 1.3. The market is actually quite red except for Amazon and Apple. I should say, let me clarify that. Tech is exceptionally red with exception of Apple. The rest of the market is actually pretty decently green. TLT is coming back off again. VIX is back up again. How much is a point? It depends on what you're talking about. ES, you're talking about 1 point, which is 4 ticks. NASDAQ is the same, and the values differ from $20 a point on NASDAQ to $50 a point on ES. Good question. 51.41 here on ES, NASDAQ. ES is already bouncing, NASDAQ not quite bouncing. Dropping back over here. See if we can hold this a little lower. If this breaks lower, I would look for an attack of pre-market levels here on NASDAQ going even down. 17,874. There we go. Took out the prior level, still shifting lower. 17,865 is first basis. Once we could take out 865, we'll look for closing the gap at 839. So here's the first test on NASDAQ right here, which cleared it with very little effort. And now you are safe to roll stops down into the gap of 836. USD JPY looks normal on the daily. Yeah. Looks pretty insane. All right, once you can hold under this pivot right here, go for the morning low or the overnight low, which is the gap, which right now should fill on down. Nvidia is dumping, the Microsoft is dumping. The only thing not dumping is Apple. If Apple joins this show, it's going to be pretty heavy. So keep an eye on Apple. Roll your stops. You're safe to stay in a short now until 838. Roll stops until 838. And even then, if it takes that out, I don't know. But I'm just playing safe here to 838. Insane. Exceptional. Exceptional. 5140 dropping. We are now 7 points away from gap fill. Again, keep an eye on the gap. Once we clear that first pivot, target becomes pretty obvious. We're also on 5-minute POC, which is on down here close to the gap as well. We're still pressing down. Nvidia is still coming down. Microsoft is still dumping. There's 845. Can they get one more push down is the question. We're getting down pretty close. Just be careful of that area. Shift your stops down. Be careful of shorting the hole. We are about to gap fill. Be safe. Let's go take a look at the GEX. What are we doing? And there we go. Butamus. Open new tab. There we go. There's 844. Here comes gap fill. 38, gap filled. Gap is successfully filled. There's a first bottom wick and tighten up stops. This is where you let it slide. If you just tighten up stops and go, now we don't know where it's going to go. Let's take a look again. Gap is now filled. I would expect some sort of bounce right here to some degree. And if not, we keep going. 50.90 is the GEX for today, which is now 15 points down. That would bring us approximately 51.20 on ES. Rolling those stops, baby. How'd you know to go short there? Momentum. Look at Nvidia. Look at Microsoft. This is a momentum trade. Not to mention the price action started breaking down again off overnight highs for a fifth rejection, and the flows coming in there. And then once you get in the trade, after that, it's all about figuring out if you're going to get bounced, where to set your stops, and position management. That's where the whole way down you have to keep an eye on things to see how you're doing position management. Being analytical about where you're going to stop out of the trade, stuff like that. The S&P gap, let's go take a look. The S&P gap is not even close to being filled yet. We're still only 8 points away. I say not even close. I guess that's not too far. NASDAQ has filled the gap. And there's our first bounce right at 17,838. Now, if you're looking to go short, this is where you have to be on your toes. I wouldn't short down here, but you want to be looking just in case we do just a pop and then absorb and then drop even further. I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but I certainly wouldn't short without at least one test of the gap, which we just filled. So this is where you want to say what we're doing. That was the gap from the settlement open, yeah, which is 1700 Central, 1800 Eastern. SPY. S1. Do you think my SPY 490 strike May 31st is worth adding another contract? I'd be more comfortable if it were June, but I just wanted your all right, so why do you have to add? Let me ask you a question. If you had no positions right now, would you take a May 31st 490 put, or would you take a June put? I take a June put. All right, so then don't double down on your May and take a June. You know what's forcing your hand to double down on your May puts? Go ahead and take another June. Who cares? And manage the position. So far, we have a little bit of a top wick still forming. ES is going to drive lower. All eyes on Apple, of course. They are the outliers, so they demand attention. If Apple comes off with everything else, then we'll probably put another low in. Why is a filled gap on NASDAQ, unfilled gap on ES? Wouldn't you look for the unfilled gap to fill? Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of looking at here. I don't give weight to one or the other. It all depends on the market participation. Right now, the S&P is quite strong. 9 of the 10 X's are green, and quite green at that. So we're not seeing too much market weakness here across the board. If you go look at all the 10 X's right now, most of them are quite green. The only thing feeling pressure at the moment is a majority of tech. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of hold up here in the S&P. So if the S&P does drive lower, then I could surmise that the Nasdaq will join and put in new lows as well. But from a VPA standpoint, we're only 15 minutes into the day, 17 minutes into the day here. So I'm tracking 15, 30, and 5 to see what they're going to do. Right now we have a 30-minute engulfing, or a 15-minute engulfing, I'm sorry. The next candle just started. We've got a little bit of a green forming. That's holding up just nicely. So there you have it. Definitely got to be careful shorting the lows and holding on. Beautiful stuff. GEX right now is 50.90 on SPX. Market flow at the moment is slightly bearish. We are in negative GEX territory, and like I said, we have GEX levels every day that are lower. All lower. What's up, Dan? Hope you had a good weekend, buddy. You get any good food? All right. Not really? All right. We got a big week this week. I've been looking forward to this week. Let's see, NASDAQ. Got this guy down here to 17,831 and 807. Kind of pinging all over the place. Taking off. Now it's back on and back off. Kind of looks like they're trying to drive it. 51.43 liquidity down, or iceberg of 51.37 and 55. Bouncing back up. Am I trading FOMC on Wednesday? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. We'll be live. Live from New York. I am one trade away from passing all my evals. Patience, patience. I love it, JJ. Keep it up. Went to my brother-in-law's house and love them, but they can't cook. It's always disheartening. Apple still holding out there at 175. VIX coming off 1510. Maybe that's the shake and bake right there. ES is starting to trickle a little bit. Puts close, solid 54%. Beautiful. Nicely done. I got cows back in my property, but I'm not going over there to get them. If they're still there later, then I'm going to have me some steak. Do you think my... Oh, I already answered that. Are they mine? No, they're going to be mine. There's like 7 of them out there now. They're going to be mine. Let's see. ES is starting to come back over. NVIDIA is putting on a little bit of pressure. Coming off again. I think we're going to make another run for it. 51.40. Free milk. Yeah. Yeah, so we do have exactly what Robert was saying there. We have a divergence in price action and volume, which means increasing prices, decreasing volume very quickly. And NVIDIA is starting to come back off again. Yes, the S&P is rounding back over a touch, and NASDAQ is going to go for another low test here. Down to the 51 or 17,838 on down. And if we take out the 830, let's go for next level. Still dropping. I would look for 816 will be a beautiful retest. 816. 51.37. VIX is back up again, holding. So VIX is close to bottoming it out here. You know, they've bottomed out. I don't anticipate VIX going any lower than this, especially this week. In fact, I expect it to be going back up. Non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll is becoming a very volatile, in fact, not becoming, it is a very volatile event nowadays because it's closely tied to the next thesis, which is rate cut cycle. .62. I love it. I do have one of those rifles at 5.1. I've got an old Mosin Nagant with a bayonet on the front of it. NASDAQ is coming off 841. Nice little move here. Nice little move. Retest, which should put us new low prices. 17,830. We first got to get through the 831. And after that, we'll look for the next test down of 815. But overall, this is a nice move down. It all really on Apple here. Apple comes off, it's going to be all she wrote. New low on Microsoft. NVIDIA is about to put another low in. We have increasing put buying on the options flow. We've got liquidity being managed south on NASDAQ and ES. And another retest. Yep, I got one. I bought that thing back in 2003. It's got the old hammer and sickle on it, like the old insignia on it. It's pretty cool. Historical. Have I ever shot it? I shot it when I bought it, and never since. I don't trust it. I do have some rounds for it. It looks like they were made about the same time period. I want a Car 98. I'd love to get a Car 98. I had an opportunity to buy one about 12 years ago for a very good price, and I didn't do it, and I regret it. All right, Apple's still dropping a little bit, 175. And I would expect this iceberg to fill here. We got two of them on 137, and we'll kind of pin through that. There's not too much liquidity on the books at the moment. They are stacking a little bit lower, but very light. NASDAQ just put a new low in, and they absorbed that 131. Still coming down. Beautiful. Beautiful. I think an old M1 carbine would be cool to have. Oh yeah. Y'all need to take a look at the civilian marksmanship program, CMP. You can buy M1s from them. Little top wick here. If this candle fails on NASDAQ, I'm looking for 816. And then after that, I mean, I'm just going level to level here. I'm watching the market flow, I'm watching the options flow, and I'm watching the price action. And this is the last support. Right here. IV has uptick a couple of percentage points. S&P going lower, and it's about to wipe out this iceberg right here at 51.37. Negative 3,400 CVD and still building lower. Right here. Yeah, buddy. What are we doing? Looks like Tesla becoming a volatile stock again. Well, as far as that thing falls, you have to realize you're exactly right. There is a whole bunch of bags out there on Tesla because the fanboys still fanboy. They still buy. And Tesla's been getting smoked, and they're still going to go lower. So this is shakeout. You know, a little bit of pressure from a increased price target, which basically says, hey, I'm bagged, so I'm increasing my price target. And the market bounces. So, yeah, you're exactly right. Volatility is going to be abounding for them. And it probably will continue into the year, too. 17,856. Let's see. Coming back up. Those guns weren't created for comfort. They're beautiful. Still going strong after all these years. Love to see it. What's up, Mushi? Yeah, it's still going strong. I love it, man. I love it. So I was looking at my, speaking of which, I was looking at my Reddit stuff because for some reason this year my Reddit participation has gone way up. And I was looking at my metrics, and I was getting about 6,000 to 7,000 people visit the Reddit page every month total. January, it was 674,000 people. It went from literally 6,000 to 670,000. I don't know why. I didn't do anything different. It just started going up. So yeah, that's why it's a whole bunch of new people spamming in there, and I can't get a control over it. So I might have to get a Reddit mod to start getting all that stuff out. It's a whole bunch of nonsense, which is a little disheartening, but yeah. Yeah. IPO, hey, that's a that's a good point. Yeah. Starting a new subreddit. I might. That's the Springs of Jabronius going on. Yeah, it's crazy. All right. 17,864 still climbing up, looking for 870. I never post in there. It is a wild place. Yeah, I try to do my best to mod it, but we'll see. So NASDAQ just put on an engulfing green that engulfed the prior candle. 15-minute chart has a bottom wick hammer. Going into 10 o'clock. We have one more minute, and then we'll get into this 10 o'clock range. Yeah, other people have. It's unfortunate. Discord security is very terrible. There's only so much I can do about that stuff. So the problem is, even after I ban those people from the server, they can still message you if you accept their friend request. So you have to block them. All right, Apple's still going up, Nvidia's still going up, Microsoft, and basically the tech market is starting to bounce here. Got a little play back up after filling the gap, double bottom wick on NASDAQ, and up we go. ES is doing the same thing. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. 51.45. What do we got here? Pumping back into the 1886. Looks like they want to recapture high prices. Big green candles, baby. Yeah, fill the gap. Do you anticipate we'll ever get back to the 2017 ranges? So you talking about like the daily ranges or 2017 prices? Do I think we'll go back to the volatility that we experienced in 2017 and 18? Yes, I do, eventually. The market can't hold this. I mean, obviously, we are in a bit of a new environment. Sure, things could change permanently, but I don't think the market will carry this kind of volatility forever. I think that would be very detrimental to the market. But I do think we'll go back to that eventually, yeah. Double top wick here. Apple still going up. ES into 51.57. We are now at 10.01. Those would be terrible. Yep. Yep. It all has to do with volatility, though. We got to get volatility right now, or liquidity. I'm sorry, liquidity has got to be dealt with in this market. That's why you're experiencing this type of stuff. There's a sheer amount of liquidity in the market. Top wick back over. 51.57 on ES. NASDAQ. Really light book on NASDAQ. Exceptionally light. There's virtually nothing here on the book. We have a negative CVD of 1,500. And they just retested the overnight little pivot after bouncing off the gap, but we're back and forth. Should include a new member quiz where people can understand how easy to get scammed in Discord. There you go. It's weird how Reddit suddenly became in vogue again right before they unloaded millions of shares. You're right. All right. Bots. My goal for today is to begin to put on a PDS for the entire week. I want to take about a 2 to 3 week dated PDS that I can hold through these events. I might even put on a Wednesday or a Thursday position so I could take advantage of IV spike. Finally got my assets in another broker. Just rebought my stocks in Fidelity. Nice. Recent Google HCU slaughtered SEO-based blogs and replaced with Reddit. I don't really know what any of that means. I'm going to be honest. Another solid video. Next side gig. Appreciate it. Is this the first time this market has gotten this volatile ever since GameStop? No. I mean, the market's experienced incredible volatility, several times in history. Several times. Countless times. But we're going on 4 years now of extreme volatility, and it's probably going to continue for at least another 2 years, which is a long time to experience this type of volatility, elevated VIX, and price movement. Not to mention doing it all with massive ranges on the macro chart. We're talking 400 to 500 point, 1,000 point ranges on ES, and 10,000 point ranges, 8,000 point ranges on NASDAQ. It's crazy. So and I think it'll come to an end with a bottoming of the market that'll strip the market of liquidity, bring the VIX back down to 8 and 9. It'll force the FOMC to get into a monetary supportive policy, which will only be able to be done after rate cuts, and then the market will bounce, and then we'll go back into a traditional bull market. Oh, thanks, Mojo. Appreciate it. Do you play GameStop back in the GameStop short squeeze? I took a small play on it. Literally, I made nothing on it. So, I mean, I did not. I had a little fun with a small position. But no, I did not. Trust me, I was FOMOing like an SOB, watching 17 and 18-year-olds make, $10 million and crap like that. I was like, oh man, I can't believe I missed that. But unfortunately, I don't follow obscure gaming companies for investment opportunities, which is why I didn't make $46 million, and my name is not deep freaking value. I wonder if that means when volatility drop, it's gonna drop to a snail's crawl. I mean, yeah, eventually it will, which is why I'm telling y'all, learn other things. If you're gonna scalp, cool, scalp, but learn how to do other things because you cannot be a one-trick pony. You have to be a multiple-trick pony and a beautiful pony that frolics. NASDAQ looks like it's going to flag and push a little bit higher here. ES probably wants that 51.57 right here. 17,873. NVIDIA is going up. GameStop CEO. Wouldn't that be a B? 51.44 right here. Pin flat 17,873 for the past 5 minutes. 5-minute candle is a doji. 15-minute candle is still green. 30-minute bottom wick with a doge. We're kind of dealing with like a 30-40 point range here on NASDAQ. I don't anticipate moving all that far from here going into Wednesday. That's probably what Friday was and Thursday and Friday was. I was looking at GameStop stock prior to the fall. It was around $1 a share and thought, why not buy a couple hundred shares since I play games? And maybe it'll go up. Yep. It's insane. 2020 was a crazy year, man. 2021. It's a crazy couple of years. Holy crap, I just realized my mouse pad has a wireless charger for my phone. That's pretty neat. 51.47, you see all this skew to the upside to 57, climbing back up. NASDAQ is still heading higher. ES, definitely the more bullish of the two. They're already overcome about 60% of the little morning drop there. 51.57, if they were to fill this liquidity, that would put a new high in and lead us into the 51.70 area. How do you build a PDS? You long a put, or let's say a put PDS. So you long a put that is closer to the money, and you short a put that's further away from the money. So basically what you're looking to do is take on more short delta than long delta. Because when you long a put, that's short delta. When you short a put, that's long delta. I don't know if I just confused you there. But layman's terms, you buy a put, and then you short a put that's further away from the money than the put you bought. And you build it into a debit, which is a put-debit spread. It's crazy. There are some really cult-like bag holder subreddits for GME and AMC that are certain it's going to happen again. Yep. That's a once in a lifetime. That's a once in a 5 lifetime opportunity, and it's not going to happen again. Not at least GameStop. Those moves only happen on obscure stocks that go from 0 participation to a globe of participation, and yeah. Selling a put to finance a put is closer to the money. Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. Sure. You're still paying more than you're receiving credit. So, it's take that for what you will. Why would you short a call instead of buying a put? Just something I always wondered. That would be the one to ask. Yeah. It depends on your strategy. I look at short premium, short calls, short puts as like zone defense. So if I want to be just less right and less demanding of accuracy, I'll put on short positions. So if the market's going to go down, yes, I do want to have long puts, but you can also short a call to collect as you go down. Every time I say the word collect on Prima, I still think of calling collect back in the 90s. Call collect, 1-800. Or something like that. I don't know, 10, 220, 10 cents a minute. So yeah. Still holding 51.46. Looks like we're finally going to attack this 51.50 to 57. Will I do a PDS as a calendar? No, I'll start out as a PDS. I'll go ahead and do a PDS all together. Start out. Open it up. All right, there goes 51.47, 51.48 into 50. NASDAQ is going up here as well. Trickling to new prices. The calling card, oh yeah. Short and call, that's 3 weeks away, allows time to be a little wrong. Yep. Exactly. More like zone defense. So is this bullish now? Yeah, we're bouncing back up into this area. We haven't broken out. Probably just going to have a range day today, which we're going to set the range here in about 20 minutes. We had some nice red. We bought up about half of it, and to be seen. I bet you these kids don't even know what we're talking about 10, 10, 220. Like, what is 10, 10, 220? What are you talking about? Calling cards? I got my phone, bro. Pity the fool. I love it. Thanks for Zoom call last night. It's an eye opener for me. You're welcome. You're welcome. Definitely welcome. 5149 into 50. By the way, bad news. The file on the Zoom call was corrupt, so unfortunately that video has been lost. So I'm either going to have to redo that video on another day, like maybe this week, or I could just write up some literature about what we talked about and try to remember the questions. So it's up to y'all. It's up to y'all. I apologize. It's the first time it's happened. Actually, second time it's happened. It happened once a couple years ago. But yeah. 5150 still going NASDAQ. We have 10-point move on ES, which is nothing crazy, but it's definitely moving back up inside the range. NASDAQ is 900 again, so about a 70-point bounce. Looking like it wants to go for 57. NVIDIA is recovering. Apple never fell off, so Apple rocketed and stayed up there. NASDAQ and NVIDIA is recovering along with it. Refresh. And right back to last week's highs on NASDAQ. So does a 510 long, 410, 498 short make sense? This is my first time. Let's see, SPY. That's a bit wide. That's a bit wide. You're probably not going to get much credit for the 498 depending on your expiration. So normally people are going 3 to 5 wide, something like that on an SPY debit spread. But you could go that wide, sure. You're just not going to get very much benefit out of the short position. The whole point of a PDS is to buy you time. It's to, if the position is going flatter a little bit, or if the price action is going to chop sideways, you're going to allow some recoup of the losses by the short position. So if you're going too far out, and this is a very, very tiny credit, then there's not really much point unless that's your intent. All right, on here, 5150. Still going up. Very wiki price action so far in the last 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and set these ranges, baby. Let's do it. So the morning high right now is 51.54.25. The low, 51.36.75. So we're dealing right now with a 18-point range. NASDAQ, 17.949. $830. So on the money, 830. So 119-point range on NASDAQ. So nothing terrible, not a massive range, but also not too tight. So they do their good. They've got their nice little range here. Top wick right here, still choppy action. Oh, thanks, Mushi. Appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate the kind words. Sorry if this is a repeat. Can you explain a PDS? How does one make money when the market goes down or up? How much is the width per strike you use, and how do you use it? Yes, you do use the same expiration for a typical PDS. So like tomorrow, if I want to write a PDS for FOMC, I would write one both positions for May 1st, which is Wednesday. So I would buy a put. I would buy a normal put, just like you normally would, wherever you want it to be. And then if you wanted to enter a PDS, you would short a put of the same expiration that's further away from the money than your long put. So for example, if you wanted to do a PDS for Wednesday, the SPY is now priced at 510, 510. So you could do, like, for example, a May 1st 505 long put with a 503 short put, where the long put's 505, the short put's 503. So it's $2 further away from the money than the long put. And whatever the debit is with that, I don't know what the premiums are priced at right now. Whatever the debit is what is the debit you would pay for the position. You're paying for it because it's a debit. The reason why you want to do a PDS like that is because it buys you a little bit of time. As we know, options, especially short-dated options like a 2-day expiration like that one, would be very unprofitable if the market went up or went sideways into that event. You would probably lose 30 to 40% on chop, and even more than that if the market actually went up. So instead of losing money on a long put, you're in fact collecting on the short put and offsetting some of your losses. And then the whole point of a PDS is not necessarily just to hold it all as one position, is to manage it, buy you time. The best way for me to play a PDS, if I were to take that trade I just talked about, is if SPY went sideways into Monday morning, I closed out the short put and collect all that premium as profitable, leave on the long put. Now I've only got just a long put on, and then the market tanks. Now I've made money on the short put and the long put. It all boils down to management of the position. How nimble can you be with your positions? You could just hold it as a basic position, sure. The downside of a PDS, if you were to hold it into oblivion, if the market sold off, let's say on Wednesday, SPY fell to 480, which is 30 points, which is a lot. A lot. But let's say it did that. The downside of holding a PDS is that your profits are capped. Whereas a long put theoretically will keep on going up and up and up and up until you hit a delta of 1, at which point it'll still go up, but not very much. Whereas a PDS, the profits are capped because the short leg eventually will cap your wins. Now that's a good problem to have if you're that deep in the money, but that's the problem with them. I had to go grab my hard drive, but here's a family photo of the first group of primary firearms my father-in-law gave to me. That's incredible. An M1, the M1 alone is fantastic. The fact that he gave you an M1 is extraordinary. And then you've got a K98 in there too, one of the best rifles in there. Lee Enfield, amazing. That's an extraordinary history right there. I only do 30 days of expiration and up on SPY. Yeah, it's a great way to go. But understanding premium will help you unlock a lot of doors. You have a whole world of premium writing out there that could open up to a bunch of different strategies. I'm geeked out. It's been so fun. That's amazing. Yeah, incredible. I will keep very good care of that M1. Still holding last week's highs, 17,900. Looks like we're going to pop it. If you want to get you some M1 Garands, right there. Riding premium is addictive when swinging 2 to 3 DTLs. Learning real quick while safer to stay weeks out and exit around 60%. Yep. Short dated premium is not easy to write. It's not easy to write. All right, still kind of creeping up here. Price action is kind of slowed to a crawl, an upwards crawl. NVIDIA is nicely recovering. So is Microsoft. TLT is recovering. VIX is holding 15. Making a slow move back up to 51.58. 7 more points on ES. Seven more minutes. Man, this is slow. 17,900 right here. What's it going to do? We're right up against last week's highs and Friday's highs right now, the 17,900 position. All right, 5 minute. We have a little bit of red there on NASDAQ. Apple's starting to come off a touch. 51.47 on ES. A little bit of absorption there at 17,900 prior to last week's highs. 51.70. Yeah, buddy. Eval's passed. Hands off for the rest of the day. Nice, JJ. Very cool. Well done. Congratulations. I like the slow and consistent attitude. If you ever played calendars or double calendars on earnings, they're going to try it. Nice. 17,884. Apple is starting to come off a little bit. NVIDIA has got a small red after their recovery, and we'll see what NASDAQ wants to do here after rejecting 18,900. ES has a little double top here as well, but pretty slow movement. ES is double topped after 51.50. Really, it's really up to NVIDIA and Apple here. What are they going to do? Are they going to correlate? If they both correlate down, for sure, we'll look for a NASDAQ to drop. But price action has come to a pretty slow crawl here the past 20 minutes. Past all 20. Nice, JJ. Very cool. Congratulations. VIX is 15, still holding. Apple is starting to come off a little more aggressively. They've already given up about half of the green. And we have some more pressure still holding here. CVD is still trickling to neutral. Yeah, keep that up, man. You could do that same thing with 20 accounts. Beautimous. Apple still falling. Liquidity shifting down a little bit, but other than that, meh. ES is definitely skewed higher to 51.55. So with the PDS, one is biased towards the market going down. That's correct. If the market keeps going up, then the PDS is losing value, in which case does one make money? Nope. So if the PDS is still a downside bias position. So if the market keeps going up, you're going to lose money. Yeah, you're going to lose money. At which point you have to manage the position. Apple's still falling off, 174.62. NVIDIA is not moving, just back and forth, chopping. Why is Tesla up 10%? They had a price target come out this morning, which means bag holders. Big green candles, NASDAQ coming back up. Looks like NASDAQ's going to bounce back up after the red. Very tight range still, and yes, definitely wants that 51.58. Apple faced a lot of pressure there. NVIDIA is still going up, so rotational forces. Little rotational forces. 20-point bounce on NASDAQ all the way back up. ES is coming up for another retest of 51.50, and it looks like they want 51.57. But very tight price action. And like I said, we're coming up on 10:30. Very tight. The headline saw was China gave Tesla the go-ahead for anonymous driving. There you go. There you go. Elon Musk's visit to China means far more for seeking approval for self-driving check on Chinese roads. They reached up 13%. It's crazy. ES is still top wicking. NASDAQ is slowly creeping right on back up. 817,900. Snooze fest. This doesn't look like very much pressure here. It looks like NASDAQ is going to recover and recapture the highs here. So NASDAQ is going back up. And off we go to new highs. ES is probably going to recapture 51.57. Yep, NVIDIA is still leading the way. So NVIDIA is blasting out of the top. Completely recovered the entire morning. And with this recovery, this attack will probably break 17,900 on NASDAQ. Right here. Nasty stuff. Let's see. What are y'all asking? Let's see. Does anyone have an opinion on effects from Chase losing 4.5 billion USD? Yeah. Banks losing money has been a pretty common knowledge the past year, but nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's all about where can we buy calls, bruh. NASDAQ, there we go. NASDAQ blasting. Pop it out of the top. Now they're about to recapture the highs. There we go. $17,907. ES is going to go to 51.57. Completely recover this and attack new highs. You son of a bee. I'm going to kill these cows. I'm going to shoot them all in the face. They got in my garden. They got in my garden. My video just went off. All right, I wanted some steaks. Delish. NVIDIA still going up. $51.51. NVIDIA probably going to take that out. And here comes the next pop. Apple's 174. Yeah, so once this absorbs here, I'll look for 17,942. New pop up here. There we go. This should take us to new prices. Are we going to hit 18,000? They're going to try. They're going to try. You have wild cows in your land? No, my neighbor's cows keep getting our property. It's like a once a month thing now. And now they're in our garden eating our stuff. So, pretty terrible. There we go. There's NASDAQ going even higher. 17,913 into 51.57. Once we take out this range, I'll look for a retest of the highs. Apple's starting to come along here too, so we got a little flows. Got some flows. Calling it quick this AM. Nice day in Pittsburgh. Beautiful. Nice, Damien. Here we go. Absorption, baby. There goes Apple on up. 51.58 on ES. Apple's recovering, so if Apple were to recover this, which it looks like they're going to try, I think this will put NASDAQ as another test of 15,947 right here. ES is trying to go up very slow. R9, yeah, tell me about it. I would. I'd be slinging them right now, cleared hot. How much weight do you put into the CB indicator on Bookmap? Has it been useful? It has been useful, yes. I look at the subchart indicator more than the on-chart, like the widget. The subchart tells me a lot more. It's the inflow and outflow of buyers and sellers, the aggregate. Whereas this just tells me the absolute value of it, which is useful, but watching it fluctuate is more useful to me. Yep, a little bit of run on video. Still holding 900, another rejection. Let's see. $51.50 on ES. NASDAQ is going lower. A little bit of red. Terrible price action. Whipsawing back and forth. I am going to have to go here pretty soon, though. I got to go deal with this. Yeah, I'm bringing my 6.5. Like, I'm done with this. I'm done with these cows. Why is a reverse carry trade a bigger deal than any other large institutional trade? Because of what's happening with the yen and the Japanese market in general right now is pretty extraordinary, and they're at a place where they can't really do anything. They can't really do anything. It's like they're danged if they do and danged if they don't. Steak boxes on pre-order. That's right. Back and forth. catastrophe on your hands. I would. I do have a catastrophe on my hands. It's terrible. 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 The cow saga's cracking me up. Keep this posted. I will. I will. It's my neighbors. All right. Well, we're back and forth at 17,900. Not a lot going on. We have no liquidity on NASDAQ. We have ES is 51.58. We've got now big red flows on NASDAQ coming off with NVIDIA dropping, with Apple dropping. Seventeen 155 dropping. Bull. Yeah. Since the volatility will drop post FOMC and if the bias is down for a market in a week, please explain the following example. It'll be prof so I can learn. Buy May 31st SPX 5000 puts and sell May 1st SPX 57.5 puts to collect premium. I would not do that. I would not do that. You're writing a PD, your PCS at that point. So yeah, you're writing a PCS. You're doing a calendar at that point. Hold on a second. May 31st long put, and you're selling a May 1st SPX. I would not do that. Yeah, you're going to get smoked doing that. Now after FOMC, I would do something along those lines, but not during the market itself. You're taking on an incredibly risky position doing that. Incredibly risky. So I would not do that. Feels like power hour still around SPX 95. Yep. $51.45. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really aggravated at the moment. $51.47 to 57. NASDAQ is up here. Yeah, I'm going to go here soon. The market's not really moving anyway. May have to build her a fence. Yeah, we've got 50 acres of fence line, and we've already rebuilt it like a bunch. But her cows are she doesn't take care of her cows, so they are constantly trying to fight to get through the fences because we have very nice grass and very high grass. So they're constantly breaking down the fences to get on our property because she's got like 50 something cows on 4 acres, and there's no grass left on her property at all. So they're constantly trying to break it to get on our property. And they're all malnourished and they're thin and they're like all ribs. So it's aggravating, And if they touched Mrs. OM's bees, it's going down. Did you call the city to help? No, she's a little old lady. I don't want to go that route. I've tried talking to her, but I don't like calling. I don't like. I'm anti-government. I don't want to call the city to get involved. I'd rather deal with it myself, if you know what I mean. Yep, her cows just became our cows. So, would she notice? Nope, not at all. I'm going to take him to the train station. All right, 51.57. $51.57 there. Throw big square bales over the fence. Yeah, they'll eat them all in a second, though. I can't do that every day. They'll eat them all. Let's see. A bit of green coming up. What time is it? Almost 10 o'clock? I'll hop off here at 11 o'clock here. Go deal with that crap. I'm not trading anything else. Trying to learn how to take advantage of volatility crash after an event like FOMC and non-farm payroll. Can you give an example of options trading that one use purely for learning purposes? To take advantage of earnings of a volatility crush, when the event is on the day of or has passed, you can go ahead and write premium that's further out that gives you a large berth away from the price action in the direction of price action. But again, I'm very cautious to talk about that type of stuff because I don't want people going to write premium into FOMC. Yes, it's very attractive to write price action, to write premium when the price action is that moving that aggressively and premiums are that high, but you will get smoked very quickly and you could lose thousands of percent, and I mean 2,000% if you don't know what you're doing. So you could write a PCS or a CCS, wherever you think the market's going to go after the event, and collect that IV crush very quickly, something like that. But you remember, there is no such thing, and I want to be clear about this. There is no such thing as writing premium without hedging. It's like having a hamburger without ketchup. Like, it just doesn't exist. You have to have the ability to hedge a position if you're going to write premium. So, yeah, theoretically, you could put on any number of positions like that, like a credit spread, to take advantage of the crush. But just be ready to hedge, that's all. Just be ready to hedge. The reason why stops don't work all the time is because what happens if you write premium on a position that you can't execute overnight, and you wake up and you're breached by 100 points and you're destroyed. So you have to be able to hedge a position. But credit spreads is what you're going to be looking for. You could do iron condors even to take advantage of positions like that in order to write premiums off, which are a little bit more risky, or you could put on simply a put credit spread or a call credit spread. I risked $2,000 for a $200 credit, gapped into a $500 loss. I steer away from writing credit spreads too close to the money before FOMC. Then I'll write positions after the move. Yep. I really enjoyed your latest video, Mastering Market Cycles. Does this apply to individual stocks? Absolutely it does. Anything with volume. Absolutely. When you're dealing with writing premium around increased premiums, volatility, it can be a honeypot. It looks very, very attractive to grab that big fat credit that's sitting closer to the money or around a volatile event, and then you do it and you get destroyed because there's a reason why premiums are high. There's a reason why volatility is high. It's because the market's pricing in a big move. And if you're on the right side of that, sure, it'll pay off pretty quickly. But if you're on the wrong side of it, you will get smoked. Take it from my DMs. Teach the cows how to sell premium. Yeah. Maybe teach cows to sell premium. I don't know. I might short calls on the price of cow futures because the cost of my beef is going to go way down. My beef expenditures in the next month. Hashtag free beef. All right. Back and forth here. Thanks a lot for the explanation. You're welcome. So is it better to write premium after a volatile event once an idea of expected market direction? Not necessarily. The whole point, Vish, is that if you're going to get in this world of writing premium, you could take on as much risk as you want. It's just you've got to be able to hedge the position. That's all. So in the event, if you did want to take, let's say you think that FOMC is going to result in a blast up to like 5,300 on SPX or something like that. Yeah, go ahead and write you a position that's far enough out of the money to be safe if you're wrong, but it's going to get you a nice credit. And that's really, you have to figure out what is good for you, what your account size can afford, and what your risk tolerance can do, how wide you want to go, because width will greatly help. I would encourage you when you start writing premium to go no more than 5 wide on SPX and no more than 50 cents wide on SPY. Stick very tight so you can mitigate that risk very easily. And then as you get more comfortable, you can go a little bit wider to take on a little bit more credit. Go from 5 wide to 10 wide, and some people even go out as far as 50 wide, which is incredibly risky. I don't go very much further than 25 to 30 wide. 100 wide is basically naked. On an unexpected FOMC reaction, are we more likely to blast at 53.50 or 57.50? I don't know. In my opinion, I would say right now the risk is down on any kind of unexpected event. In my opinion, markets do not like unexpected data. And if they were to come out and hike the crap out of the markets on Wednesday, then I would expect pretty aggressive selling. But I don't know. They could pop it up big green and then dump it. I don't know. It all depends on what the charts look like going into Wednesday. Yeah, FOMC is not a learning event, definitely. I appreciate the questions, and I want you to keep them coming because that's how we learn. But I definitely would not advise you to write any premium on any kind of catalyst until you're well versed in premium writing. If you're selling a spread, wider is better than more. There you go. I lost $30,000 in Iron Condor in 2021 on SPY due to GameStop. Ooh. Like you sold a piece or a call credit spread on GameStop? A little bit more red here. I lost $21,000 on my first strangle on a CPI nothing burger. Oh, that sucks. Iron Condor and Spy held it overnight when GameStop squeezed. Ah. So it's like a theta decay day. Yep. I don't expect us to move pretty far away from this going into FOMC. I'd say we made a lot of moves the past 2 weeks. They recovered the market last week to pin us flat to mean revert into FOMC. I'll probably say somewhere in this area, plus or minus 100 or so points on NASDAQ, and plus or minus 30 points or so on ES into Wednesday, and hang out. So I am going to hop off here to go take care of this crap. I don't anticipate taking any more trades today. This market's been chopping back and forth. We had the big momentum this morning. Other than that, that's all we got. So keep the questions coming. If you have any more questions, please shout them out. If you're tier 2, throw them in the Skiff channel or the Zoom call, and we'll go from there, and we'll revisit the conversation from yesterday. Big volatility this week. Do not blow your account up today or tomorrow when we've got so much volatility. You can play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have FOMC on Wednesday. We have Apple earnings on Thursday. We've got, is it Thursday or Tuesday? I think it's Thursday, right? It is Thursday? Let me make sure. Yeah, it's Thursday. So we have FOMC Wednesday, Apple earnings on Thursday, and non-farm payroll on Friday. So we have plenty of volatility. Don't get whipsawed in this chop right here, pinning into mean reversion into FOMC. So, yeah, Amazon tomorrow. What's the correlation between ES and NASDAQ? There's not really a good correlation. You can't really correlate those. To me, it's approximately 1 to 3. So 1 ES is approximately 3 ES contracts. Approximately. That's just a wag. But there's not really a good way to correlate that. So, yeah, y'all have a good rest of the day. I'll see you maybe this afternoon if things pick up. I'll come back on, but I doubt it. And then if not, we'll come back Tuesday morning. I love you. I'm out. See you.